Anthony Hartwig here with a Leetonia boys basketball coaches corner and season preview. Coach Hein comes in from Leetonia, the Bears den down there in Leetonia. We can't wait for Leetonia basketball. We know you can't either, Coach. Thank you
For
so
sure.
much for taking the time to join us. Ty Bartell also popping in as well.
Good to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
Coach, I mean, we're talking about practice season right now, and that's what's going on. We got some scrimmages going on, kind of just the foundational work of what the season perhaps potentially may look like. What are practices looking like right now for the Bears from your perspective?
Practices right now, we have a good mix of upperclassmen and younger guys, some freshmen. We actually only have one sophomore, but the mix of them creates some opportunities plus some things that glaringly obvious things we need to work on. We're kind of combining a lot of fundamental stuff for the younger guys, and plus trying to get things going, ramping up for the older guys. We have actually seven returning lettermen this year, which poses us some. We'll have some experience under our belt, but with these new guys, we got to kind of make sure we get them mixed in. Hopefully, couple of these freshmen are going to help us with in the varsity program. So fundamentals, as well as building on what we've done the last couple years with Coach Costello. So we're pushing it a little bit hard for them. A lot of them haven't seen this kind of practice, high intensity practice. Coming from junior high last year. Junior high is a big step. Going from junior high up to playing against varsity guys. So a little bit of mix of everything.
Coach, I know you're trying really hard. Everyone's working really hard to kind of turn this program around and instill a winning culture into Leetonia. What are some things that you're trying to do to get that kind of winning mindset with these kids where they go out and they expect to win the games they play? They don't hope to win, they just expect to win.
Right. Well, we had a really good summer league and a really good showing in numbers in summer league. So that helped us a lot, to push the idea of you need to get out there and expect to win. We've been a doormat in our league for so long, and it's really frustrating, going into games, the last couple of years, knowing that the other teams think that that's a guaranteed win, and that has to change. And, the mental toughness aspect of that is something that we try to preach to our guys. And even to the point of having like a classroom setting in practice and talking about mental toughness and how it relates to, everyday life, and this is temporary and this is nothing. This should be fun. We shouldn't be so overwhelmed with simple things of getting a bad call from a ref or a kid on another team, jawing at you and making you lose your mind. It's next play, next guy up kind of mentality. We need to get that back here.
I'm excited for this season for you and your guys, Coach, and I think you have the opportunity to surprise a bunch of teams that cross your path. Without further ado, I want to get a chance to meet these guys too. Shout out some names we can expect to see on the court this year for the Bears.
Okay, well, we have we only have three seniors. Ashby Merritt, Ethan Mancuso, and Eric DeCross. I'll start with them. Ashby's he'll be a 3-year letterman. He's really the center point of our team. He's a bigger guy, basketball guy, loves basketball, eats, sleeps, and breathes it. So I'm hoping he can step into a leadership role. He's come a long way in a few years, and so we're really proud of that, mentally and physically. I think he can do a lot of things, and I'm trying to get him to understand that, in our league, he could be a 20-point, 10 rebound, a night guy if he really wants to, but we can't put the uniform on. We can't go out there and play for him. He's got to be willing to put the work in and the effort and get his head screwed on straight from the beginning. Ethan Mancuso is another one. I'm sure you guys have heard his name, during football. He's a great athlete, probably our best defender. He's quick, chatty. He's the guy that's always talking on the floor to to the opponents as well as our guys. Telling people where to be. He's a good leader. Eric DeCross played mainly JV last year. I think he saw a little bit of varsity time here and there. He did get a letter last year. I think he's going to play a role as well. He's a big guy, just knows where to be to get rebounds. He's not the best outside shooter. Ashby, on the other hand, he can play inside and out. Eric's more of your typical post player. So, and aside from the seniors, we have a big group of juniors that, they've been playing together. This group, there's a core of them since they were in, I think third grade. So they've grown, and I think this is that group. Really, when they're on the floor, you can tell that they've played together, and they almost read where each other is going to be and where they need to be for to make the offense work. They're the key right now to this team. I think having these seniors as the foundation, and these juniors, if they can play well together and keep things going offensively, our goal. We only scored an average of just over 20 a game last year, and you guys know as well as I do, you're not going to win many games scoring 20 some points a game. So our goal is to double that this year, and there's a lot of things we're doing a little bit differently, plus building on what we have done the past 2 years here to get that going. So the juniors, we got Carson Brock. He's a great shooter, grew like a weed over the offseason. So he's probably one of the tallest guards in our league, I think. Shooting guard, he's taken to the hole. CJ Faulkner, he's played varsity the last 3 years. He's a great point guard, got great handles with the ball. He's taken to the hole more. He's not being as timid as he was last year. We just got to keep pushing him that way. Bray Earl, he's another one. He can jump out of the gym, for his size. Cam Roller, he broke the tackle record this year for Leetonian football. He's another one. If we can get him healthy, he's going to be a big part of this as well.
Just make sure you tell Cam that you can't tackle people anymore.
Yeah, I got to tell half these guys that. Sometimes they get pretty aggressive, which is a good thing, but they got to know when to, pull the reins back on each other.
Coach, let's talk about your schedule. We'll start with the conference. Obviously, the EOAC good every year, and it's like you said, they're going to have to prove to these teams that you're putting up a fight this year. Yeah. Talk about the EOAC, what you expect out of it this year, and the teams that you see coming in for you this year in the
Well, the EOAC, it being from it's a smaller league, so players come and go, but there's your teams like Lisbon and Columbiana that I think are going to be they're the teams to beat this year. Nothing against the other guys, that they're well coached, that all those teams play hard. We saw a lot of them in the summer league, and anybody could beat anybody on any other night. So, but I think Columbiana, Lisbon are going to be the teams to beat. Hopefully we can get. I'm telling these guys we can beat anybody. It's all how our mindset going in. Injuries happen. They happen to us. They happen to other teams. You never know. Somebody might have a hot night. Somebody might have an off night. Putting in a special defense for somebody. You never know what might happen. For going down in Lisbon. We beat them here 2 years ago by 1 point on a last second shot with mainly the same guys they have now. So it's doable. Hopefully. My goal here is to win as many games as we can with what we have, and hopefully shock a few people with a couple upsets. The outside of our league, we have a couple tough games. We play Jackson Milton our second game. They're going to be tough. We play Western Reserve, Waterloo. They're both tough. I think a couple other games, Sebring, Lordstown. Everybody has down years, but we're not overlooking anybody. We're going to prepare for every single game.
Coach, let's also just talk a little bit about this staff, because as you know, building a program, it can't be done with just one guy. You need a good, solid group of people around you to build this program up to what you want it to be. What's that staff look like around you this year for the Bears?
So we have as a JV coach right now, Corey Creamer. He was the former Wellsville girls coach, varsity girls coach last year. He helped us a little bit last year, and now he's on board with us as the JV coach. I also have Justin Maynard. He's a graduate of Leetonia. Actually, all three of us are graduates of Leetonia, believe it or not. So Justin Maynard and Corey Creamer, I actually coached here in the early 2000s, the first time I was here with Guy Costello. So it's kind of a neat thing. It's almost like a full circle kind of deal with having these guys on staff, and they're great with the kids. And everybody brings in a little bit different perspective. We kind of I'm not the type of head coach that's gonna rule the roost and outweigh everybody. I want everybody's input. And then we have a couple volunteer coaches as well. Well, actually, I should say the junior high coach, Nick Valor. He just got hired here as the junior high coach. He's going to help us in the varsity level as well. He's a Wellsville graduate. I believe he said 2013 was when he graduated from there, and he played at Wellsville for Bug Thompson. And he's just in the short time that I've known him, he's brought a lot to the table already. And Patrick Hall, he's helping us this year. He played at Leetonia, I think graduated in 2020 or 2021. He's a younger guy, does a lot of stuff with the guys, on the side, like individual skills and things like that. He's a great guard, great role model for some of these guys. He relates to them a little bit more than us older guys. So that's what we have for staff.
Coach, all those guys, they're all Leetonia alums, you included, like you just said. What's it mean to you to have a coaching staff that is not just caring about the kids, obviously, like all coaches do, but you care about the school system, you care about this program, you're Leetonia through and through. What's that do for you guys as coaches to be alumni of the school?
Well, the thing is with me personally, I'll talk about me first. It means a heck of a lot to be here. I graduated in '95 from the old school, down on top of the hill, and then back then, I'm not a guy that lives in the past or anything like that, but I just remember the school pride that was in that school and how packed that gym would be when I played, back in the early '90s, and everybody that is old as me or older remembers that. That's something we can all relate to in Leetonia. It's a small school. Everybody would go to all the games, the football games, the basketball games, everything. So it means a lot to be here, and I hope to be part of the turning tide, so to speak, of bringing that pride back. It's an uphill battle. It's the thing is it's easy to love a winner, I think, is the right way to say it. And it's been a while since Leetonia's had a winner. And for the guys, and this is another part of the mental toughness thing, for the guys to go through a season like they did last year and still stick it out and play with, leave it all on the floor, diving after loose balls, getting concussions, running into the stands, and still know they're not going to win. That says a lot about these guys. We're blue collar, it's simple as that. And that's part of why, I'm a general contractor. I work with tools and, every day. So I try to bring that mentality to this too. And hopefully that instills a little bit of that work ethic into these guys. I would not be here if I didn't feel like I was the right guy for the job right now. I would have walked away. I would have said, no, thank you. There's not too many guys that are going to take over, after going 0-23 like we did last year. But I look at it as a challenge. And hopefully I can make, Coach Costello proud, as well as everybody in this town. You can't promise the world. I know we're not going to go undefeated, but we're going to win some games, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Coach, we're all definitely rooting for you. We're excited for the Bears' upcoming season. My final question for you, just kind of a theme I'm asking all head coaches this year. Where did that love for the sport of basketball begin for you? Because it's what got us into this sport. It's
Yeah.
what keeps us going. Where did it start for you?
Oh boy. I started playing. I think I was in 5th grade, playing for Leetonia, and I remember, there was times where you go through stuff as a kid, and you need an outlet, and that was my outlet. And I found peace in playing basketball and going to play with my friends. I lived about 2 miles out of town, and I'd put a shove a basketball underneath my shirt, my jersey, and ride my bike into town to go play. And we would play all day long. Southside School in Leetonia, Wick Park in Leetonia, and back then, it's hard for these guys to. And I sometimes I sound like an old fart, telling them these stories, but you'd have to wait at Wick Park to get on. You'd have your team waiting, and you'd have to wait to get on, wait your turn. That's how many kids would be playing basketball at these parks in Leetonia, and they still say they play, but it's not like it was. But then we got into getting into high school and stuff. I just developed a love for it. I was coached by some great coaches, Dan Giancola, Mark Pisano, guys that were excelled at basketball when they were in school and as coaches. So they kind of instilled that love, hard love, I guess, like tough love on me, and made me realize, that there's more to basketball than just the game. There's a way to connect that to real life, and I think that's carried with me my whole life until now.
Coach, we thank you so much for joining us today. We thank you for your time, and we're rooting for you all season.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no problem, Coach. This has been a first edition of Coach's Corner with the basketball head coach of the boys team over at Leetonia, Mr. Michael Hein.